Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, and thank you for stopping by. All right, guys, on today's Bullet Points episode, we're going to talk about something that I think is important because we're picking up certain little tidbits and we're starting to see the tip of the spear that they are bringing forward on the gun control left, and it's fear. If you guys have ever been to high school, college, any social group for more than 6 months, you guys know that one of the most powerful motivators for obstructing an action is fear. Insecurity, rooted in fear. All of these things are just social dynamics. Like everyone knows this is a thing, and it happens to everybody. However, it is telling when you start to see the same things from a leftward-leaning gun control organization. In this case, the Democratic Party. Check this out, and we're going to start to see this a lot more because this Supreme Court case that's coming out, this is not a new case, right? It was announced in June. It's being determined it starts the arguments in November. This is not new. So why are they starting to come out and do vote counts and start new analysis on the judicial decision makers? It's interesting. And it's fear because you guys are making an impact in the gun culture hypothetical war, right? Check this out. Everything's linked in the description box below, and I want to know what you hear on this or what you guys think on this. Supreme Court to weigh New York's limit on carrying a handgun. Again, this is not new, so why bring it up? Always ask why. This is interesting information. The Supreme Court will grapple with the right to bear arms outside the home during the upcoming term in a case where court watchers are calling significant because it's been more than a decade since the justices weighed the limits of the Second Amendment. Very true. Now, this is the case in New York, right? Keep You Up New York basically says you can own the gun, you have the right to own the gun and keep the gun, but you don't have the right to bear the gun in public. That's the whole idea. And it's the thread that could unravel the entire gun control pattern across the United States, which is why it's a huge deal. Imagine Chicago, Oregon, Washington, Los Angeles, all these main places, Chicago, have to rewrite their gun laws completely because they were infringing upon the Second Amendment the whole time. That's kind of the scope we're talking about, which is why we lead to fear. Check it. Democrats are concerned that the 6-3 conservative majority on the high court will curtail the government's ability to impose regulations and requirements on gun owners. Well, first of all, the Second Amendment says the right to keep and bear arms. It does not say the right to keep and bear arms after the government puts requirements and regulations on you. It doesn't say that. That's not the point. The government is there to ensure the right. The government is not there to curtail the right. And that's a key distinction. But let's keep going, and I'll kind of show you what they're doing here. Justice Amy Coney Barrett's presence on the bench. She's one of the 3 Supreme Court picks former President Donald Trump made during his one term in office. Especially worries progressives because of a pro-gun opinion she wrote while serving as a judge on the U.S. Circuit Court for the 7th Circuit. And this is the part where their actions betray their thoughts. They may not say their thoughts, but their actions are betraying them. Check it. Why would they be researching her pro-gun positions if they were not worried about the outcome? Why wouldn't you just wait and see what would happen? You cannot actually influence the outcome by doing the research, but why? Check it out. Read this again. Especially worries progressives because of a pro-gun opinion she wrote while serving as a judge on the U.S. Circuit Court. If it didn't worry them, they wouldn't do the research on her specifically. You notice you haven't seen any articles on Gorsuch or Kavanaugh in this nature? They're focusing on Barrett specifically, and there's a reason. They are more scared of her than the other two. Gun rights advocates are hoping that her addition will make 5 justices who are more willing to take a more active role and start striking down what most people consider gun safety rules, said Elliot Mintzberg, senior fellow with People for the American Way. Well, first of all, the American way, rugged individualism, self-reliance, exceptionalism, we get the job done. We don't need the government to do our job. We do our job and then we deal with the government. That's kind of like an American ideal, right? Amen. Woo! But it's interesting because this person said most people consider gun safety rules. Well, you kind of an ambiguous most there. But it's not the government's job to provide gun safety or safety of any kind. It's the government's job to get the hell out of the way. In fact, this kind of brings me up to one of our founding fathers, Benny Franks. Any society that would give up a little liberty to gain temporary security will deserve neither and will lose both. That is like one of the best quotes from our founding fathers is that quote right there, because the propensity to give up rights for safety is rampant on the Democrat and the leftist side of the aisle. They will give up any right they can if they can avoid pain. Pain is what makes you stronger. It sucks, but it's part of life. And now we wrap it up with this last piece. In the case, a nonviolent felon challenged the restriction on Second Amendment grounds. This is the case that she decided earlier, the one they're researching. Justice Barrett's position was that the legislatures have an interest in stripping violent felons from owning guns, not non-violent felons. Her dissent was lauded by gun rights supporters. So essentially, this is the difference between if you're a felon, you can't have gun rights. Well, what if you just embezzled from a company? Or what if you were actually using violence to perpetrate crimes? You're not going to get a gun over here. But if you are an embezzler, does that mean you can't have guns? And that's what she was ruling on. The ruling never went through, but she did alter the dissent, which is why they're hitting on this. You're going to start seeing this a lot more because the left is terrified of this ruling. When this comes out, and we will cover it right here on Langley Outdoors Academy, because this has ramifications for our children. And until tonight at the 9 p.m. slot, I'm Braden. See you later.